Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video here today for what should be the third round of the Motorsport Ireland F4 series around Lebanon, but unfortunately the video file for that ended up getting corrupted, so we don't have any footage of that, and honestly it's probably for the best with how those races went, but we'll go through that at the start of the next video for that series. But I am wanting to still get a video out for this week, try and keep up a bit of consistency. So we're going to have a look at one of the official races I did in the F3 Open Series around the Algarve. So looking at qualifying then, we finished in 6th place, 1.3 seconds off pole, but just 2 thousandths behind 5th place, and it's very close around me. So hopefully we can have a few good battles and have a pretty fun race. So as we sit here on the grid now, getting ready for the race to start in a very gloomy Portimao circuit in the Algarve. The 4 red lights are on, and the lights go out. We get a pretty average start, pretty good start actually, as we get past that pink and blue car to start ahead of us, as Greg in the green car manages to get past too. He was the car that qualified just 2 thousandths ahead of us. We were side by side there into turn 1, wasn't really trying to make a move, just in there as always, just to try and make it through turn 1 cleanly, and once you do that then for the rest of the race you can try and have some fun and make up positions, but the first couple of laps usually it's just about survival. As we race down to the turn 5 hairpin for the first time, a bit of a lock up. Tyres are very cold, as you can obviously see it's not the sunniest day here, so track temp and air temp is very low. We're going to see that through this double right hand as we get a bit of understeer then, and then into turn 8 we lock up a bit and go really wide, as I just have no grip at this point of the race. But as we go on over the rest of this lap and the next lap too, we'll eventually get the tyres up to temperature and then we can start pushing the way we want. But in the opening half of this lap now, we're after losing touch a bit with the cars ahead of us and coming under pressure from the cars behind because of that mistake that we made in turn 8. Coming into the final few turns of the track then, once again through this second to last corner, we're going to see the grip still isn't there even after a full lap of race, and we wash a bit wide, don't get the turn in that we wanted, but because of the way that turn is you can run a bit wide, and it just means that you're going to be able to get a bit of a better exit, but obviously ideally you want to get the best line that you can through the turn. And as we finish lap 1 then, we started 6th, we've made up that one position that we did at the start with the car ahead of us not getting a great launch, and we're up into 5th. As saw there into turn 1, the 2 cars ahead looked like they're going side by side into turn 1, which is a very tricky corner to get right by yourself, never mind when you're battling with someone. But we've actually caught up quite a bit in the opening stages of this lap, as the cars ahead now are going side by side on the run down into turn 5. The green car on the inside, he brakes a bit too hard, locks up and loses the rear, has a spin out there, and we manage to get past then, as does the car ahead. So up into 4th now. The run through that hairpin because of that spin meant we pretty much almost had to come to a stop, so the cars behind us now are after closing up a bit, but we gained 1 place. We're after closing up to 3rd place, and luckily we weren't collected in that incident. So a very positive opening lap and a half to this race so far. Skipping ahead now to the first sector of lap 4 on the run down into turn 5. We're after dropping back a bit from the car ahead, and Daniel, who's behind, he's after catching up on us. He dives from what I felt was a long way back into the hairpin, and on the exit we lock tyres. I spin out and he goes on. No real damage done to him or to his race, so I will say that he did end up winning this race. He was a lot faster, but still doesn't mean that you can dive from a long way back. If you're faster, just wait for the right place to make the move. Unfortunately we lost 4 positions there, and we did actually end up getting some damage to our car, so hopefully that doesn't affect us too much in this race. Lap later then, on lap 5, going into the final few turns, Greg ahead, who had the spin earlier in the race, has another spin out of turn 13, and we managed to get past him there. And I thought because he was just about getting going after that spin that he might have been able to challenge us down into turn 1 down this long pit straight with the slipstream. He is 7 tenths back, but I did learn then that you need to really do it in 5/10 or 4/10 of a second to try and make a move into turn 1. The slipstream isn't that powerful. So we managed to move up into P7.
Lap times are pretty consistent.
On to lap 9 now, 3 laps later. Into turn 1 we carry a bit too much speed, run wide, and then into turn 3 the hairpin. We lock up probably a bit dirty tyres because of running wide. And now you can see in the mirror that Greg, he's very close to us. He's managed to close in a couple of tenths from the last time we were on board, and he's stuck with us. So I decide that I'm going to pull to the inside there, not to defend, but just to give him the racing line to get past. I feel like he might have a little bit more speed at this time of the race, so hopefully he can try and pull me along and we can catch up to the cars ahead. But as we fast forward now through the middle part of this lap, as we enter the final sector, into turn 13, you can see there's a car going wide there. That is a lap car that must have distracted Greg there as he goes for yet another spin. So our great plan of trying to hope that he can drag us towards the cars ahead hasn't really paid off there as he spins back behind us. But this lap car ahead of us now, we're going to try and use this to get slipstream the whole way down this pitch straight and try and slingshot our way to Lars, who is the car ahead of us. First position. Stayed in the slipstream there, pulled to the inside to try and get past. Wasn't the cleanest overtake of a back mark, but we managed to get it done and we gained a couple of tenths on Lars, who is ahead of us. As we skip ahead to the end of lap 10, the start lap level, we managed to close in about 6 tenths to Lars on that lap as we set our fastest lap of the race. Through turn 1, taking it nice and tidy, and then into the hairpin of turn 3. Turn 2 isn't really a turn, it's flat out. Lars, he goes a bit wide, we get a pretty nice run. Now we've closed the gap even further by another 3 tenths to just 0.7. So we're very close to getting into the slipstream now, so it's very important, which is why I was thinking at this time, just have a nice, clean, tidy lap and try and get that gap to about 4 tenths or 5 tenths by the time we get to the pitch straight. You might have noticed there out of the hairpin, Lars gets a bit of a tank slap or a bit of wheel spin, so now we're just 0.4 seconds behind, and that is definitely enough to be within the slipstream range to try and get the advantage of the slipstream down into turn 1. So keep it nice and tidy now through the latter half of this lap. Into the double right of turn 10 and 11, we run a bit wide, so that whole idea of keeping it nice and clean hasn't really paid off yet. But into the last couple of turns, this is where I knew I was stronger than Lars. It's where I've been closing in over the last couple of laps. So even though we were a few tenths behind, I felt like there was a chance that we could close the gap in slipstream range. But on the exit of the second to last turn and into the flat out final turn of turn 15, unfortunately we're 8 tenths behind and we're not going to be able to get a move done on this occasion. Still sticking in the slipstream though, in case we can get a bit of a distance tow, as we're both after pulling well ahead of the cars behind us. We're into turn 1. This time it's going to be Lars' turn to make a bit of a mistake. He goes very wide, nowhere near the apex. And through turn 2 we have to check a little bit there. We have a bit of a look into turn 3. There was a bit of a half-hearted move there. Need to be a lot more aggressive if you want to try and get a move done. So we stay behind for now. And now we're well in a slipstream on the run down into turn 5. It's not the most comfortable braking zone for me, so I didn't really want to try and have a dive down the inside. But on the exit, Lars has another really bad run, and now we're gaining on the run through turn 6. You have a little bit of a look into turn 7. I really wasn't going to try and make a move there. I was just seeing if I could force him into a mistake. And then through turn 8, he doesn't have a great run either, but we're not able to have a move done there. So once again we stick behind, again trying to stay within slipstream range for another run down the pitch straight. As we go through the final turn here, the final real turn, as the actual final turn coming up here, the long right hander is flat out. This time we're well within slipstream range, 3 tenths behind. So we're going to tuck up right behind Lars. As you can see now, running down the pitch straight, you can see the speed that we're gaining in the slipstream. Pull out to the right at the last minute, using the momentum that we have to get past into turn 1. Brake on the inside, brake nice and early, make sure to meet the apex and get that move done. And now into turn 3. The goal for the rest of this lap now is to try and break out of the slipstream range of Lars so he can't do to us what we have just done to him. On the run down into turn 5 then, this is where that plan is kind of going to come asunder as we brake a bit too hard, we lock the rears, have a little bit of a slide into the entry, luckily we managed to hold it, but unfortunately that does mean that as we come into the final 3 turns here of the lap, Lars is only 2 tenths behind us. We haven't been able to get near enough the gap that we need to prevent him from being able to slipstream past us on the pitch straight. So through the final turn now, I know that my fate is inevitable. We're going to be passed once again and move back down into 7th place as we just moved up into 6th place on the previous lap. Lars just decided, wait, he's right up to the back of us. Get as much momentum as he can down the inside of turn 1. No point in fighting that. He has the inside line, and trying to hold it around the outside there is probably just going to lead to a crash. So once again, we're going to try and just stay behind and see if we can stay within the slipstream range and get the exact same move done once again. But as we skip ahead now towards the end of the lap, we're about 8 tenths behind, but I know that I'm usually better through the final few turns. But on this occasion, into turn 11, we brake a bit too late, go a bit wide and then try to carry a bit too much speed, a bit of a slide, and then into the second to last turn. We usually get a good run through here compared to Lars, but unfortunately because of that mistake at turn 11, we actually dropped out of the slipstream range for this lap. Into the middle of the next lap then, we're still about the same distance behind as we were, but into turn 8, go a bit wide, don't get the line right, and we lose a couple of tenths. We're now a second behind Lars, and we're going to have a really good end of this lap to try and get within the slipstream range, or we're going to not have it for yet another lap. But on this occasion, unlike the last lap, through the final few turns, we managed to get just right like we have been, and now running across the line to start lap 16. We're within 5 tenths of Lars, so we're back in the slipstream range. Unfortunately, not close enough to try and make a move on this lap, but it just shows and it gives me the confidence that I am quicker through the last 3 or 4 turns, and if I am a few tenths behind, I know that I can gain the few tenths that I need to get in slipstream range. If you look at the relative in the bottom left, you might notice that myself and Lars have actually started to close into Alvaro in 5th place, so the two of us being relatively similar pace, pushing each other to basically drive our best, has meant that we're after starting to close in. It's just under 3 seconds now as into turn 8 once again. Make a bit of a mistake and lose a couple of tenths, so we're outside slipstream range again, but as we just said, can gain that back in the final few turns. So it seems that turn 8 is definitely my Achilles heel at this track. I seem to be getting it wrong quite a bit, and it does cost me because we're 9 tenths behind now going into the last few turns, and we're going to gain a bit, but just adds extra pressure to try and nail these to get within the slipstream range. As through the second last corner now, you can see that we're 8 tenths behind, so once again we've dropped out of slipstream range, and it's all because of that one pretty minor mistake in turn 8. It just compound effects that means that we're not going to be able to maximise the speed down this straight. Going on to that straight there, we almost run off practice, not fully paying attention, as you can visually see now into turn 1. We're a lot closer to Alvaro, and it might not be long, possibly even the next lap, when Lars is in slipstream of him, so this could very easily turn into a 3-way battle for a top 5 finish. We skip ahead towards the end of lap 17 now, getting ready to start the final lap. Unfortunately, Lars has dropped back a bit from Alvaro, so maybe he was after having a couple of off tracks. His tyres were a bit dirty and that was causing a bit of a drop in pace, but he seems to have got back together now, and unfortunately for us, we're 7 tenths behind Lars. Weren't able to get into the slipstream, as turn 1 here is kind of the last real overtaking place that we have on this track, unless we get a good run out of turn 5 and then be able to try and make a move into the hairpin of turn 5. Alvaro made a bit of a mistake there in turn 3, had a bit of a lock-up, so we have closed in once again. And we had a better run than Lars, but not close enough to try and make the move down into the hairpin. But into the hairpin here, we close up under brakes, and on the exit once again, as we've seen a couple of times, Lars has a poor exit, and this one worse than the others. And we managed to get past on the exit. But look in the mirror now on the top, you can see into turn 8, Lars, he gets on the curb there, runs really deep into turn 8. Luckily he doesn't hit us, but he drops back a couple of tenths now and drops back, and it means that we're not going to be coming under any pressure for the second half of this last lap. As we skip now to going through the final turn to finish the race, we're going to come home in P6, 1.5 seconds behind Alvaro in 5th. So only for that incident at the hairpin early in the race, we could have got P5, but really that's all we could have hoped for in this race.
That's it.
So start the 6th, finish 6th, all in all, not a bad race. So yeah, P6 it was in the end, almost 30 seconds off the winner, which was Daniel Vale, who we had coming together with at the hairpin early in the race. Gained 40 IR, so over 2.2k now, and gained 1.1 safety rating as well, which was desperately needed. Had a few difficult races in the last few weeks, so need to try and keep that going in the upward direction. But so that's all for this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos of just some of the official races that I do, along with the league racing videos, because some of those leagues that I do will be coming to an end in the next few weeks, so might be a bit of a break before the new league starts. So anyway, thanks for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you then.